We're going to continue our figurative language unit today by talking about another piece of figurative language that we call personification. One of my favorite movies of all time is The Wizard of Oz. And in that movie, there's lots of personification. Dorothy actually says, "Don't be silly, Toto. Scarecrows don't talk." But personification is the magic writing tool that lets scarecrows talk. Let me show you what I mean. Here's a really fancy definition. Personification is a figure of speech which endows animals, ideas, or inanimate objects with human traits or abilities. Endows is a big word that means it gives them. So when I use personification in my writing, I'm giving things that aren't human, I'm giving them human qualities. I'm giving them the ability to do human things, like giving a scarecrow the ability to talk. Do you remember nursery rhymes? Nursery rhymes are awesome. But think about, I have one listed on the next page, I think. Let's see it. We want to look at this one, The Cat and the Fiddle. Hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle, the cow jumped over the moon. The little dog laughed. When I said it, it was always to see such a sight, and the dish ran away with the spoon. Well, let's talk about all the things that don't really happen. As a general rule, cats don't play the fiddle. Maybe you have a very special cat. We can talk about that later. So that's definitely personification. We gave the cat the ability to do something that humans do. Cows are not big jumpers either. People jump, other animals jump. Cows can jump, but that's not really what they're known for. They definitely can't jump over the moon. But that's just an example of exaggeration. Dogs don't laugh. And dishes and spoons don't run. So there's a whole lot of personification example in that one nursery rhyme. Let's look again. Let's see if we can recognize personification. We're going to do these together just as we're getting used to them. You need to decide whether the sentences I'm going to show you are personification or are not personification. Walking desks took over the town. Do you think that's personification? Well, humans walk, but do desks generally walk? Yeah, desks don't walk. So this is personification. Desks don't walk. Humans do. So in all of these movies and all of these stories where they're giving inanimate objects those abilities, think about every cartoon. Think about cars. Cars don't really talk. Okay, well, sometimes my car will say random things to me, but not like a person. It will say pre-recorded things to me, not have a conversation with me. Even things like Winnie the Pooh. Eeyore is a donkey. Donkeys don't talk, but Eeyore does. That's personification. Giving things that normally don't have those qualities, giving them human qualities, like this, letting your desks take over the town. That sounds like a scary school nightmare. How about this one? I listen to the wind. Is that personification? Is there anything in that sentence that's not a human that's being given human qualities? No. The wind is audible, that means I can hear it, but it might not have human characteristics in this instance. So let's try another one. The dog stares carefully at me. Is that personification? Well, humans stare. Can dogs stare? If you said yes, they can stare, then are we giving this dog any human qualities? Nope. Dogs, just like humans, can stare. There's nothing especially human about being able to stare. Did you get that one? Let's try the next one. The snake loves food. Is that personification? Humans can love food. Do snakes eat? Okay. Do you think they can enjoy eating? I mean, it keeps them alive. They probably enjoy things that keep them alive. So this is not personification. A snake loving food just means they like to eat, nothing more. Let's look at a couple more. The moon dances around my fear. Is that personification? Okay, well, humans dance. Does the moon dance? This is personification. Human beings dance. Moons do not. Doing okay? The thought lumbered around in my mind. Well, normally we think about lumber as being a tree, but this kind of lumber is like walked heavily. So is that personification? The thought lumbered around in my mind. It is personification. Thoughts don't generally walk anywhere, and they definitely don't walk heavily. So that is giving it a human quality. That's personification. Let's look at two more. Ronnie Johnson smiles at the fox. Well, I don't know who Ronnie Johnson is, but it's got a first name and a last name. I'm going to assume it's a human being. He's smiling at the fox. Is that personification? No way. Ronnie Johnson is a person, and the fox has nothing to do with the smiling. One more. Wind whispers like a tree in the breeze. Wind whispers. This whole sentence is incorrect. The wind whispers through the trees in a breeze is what that should say. That is personification. To whisper, you have to have lungs and air and a mouth, and the wind doesn't have any of that. So the winds don't whisper, the people do. Let's look at something else. I'm going to keep you much longer, but I do want to look at this. If I say the teapot on the stove screeched when it finally got hot, what is the thing in the sentence that's being personified? What thing in the sentence that's not a human is being given a human quality? It's the teapot. And what's the human quality we're giving the teapot? What are we saying that the teapot can do that we normally say humans can do? Telling us that the teapot screeches. Normally that's what a human does. We screech. Teapots don't normally screech. Let's look at another. The morning sun peeked over the horizon. What is the thing that's being personified in this sentence? Okay, the morning sun. What are we saying that the morning sun can do that we usually say humans do? Peaked. Does that make sense? Are you understanding? This one's familiar. It's close to the one we just read in the last section. One dark and stormy night, the wind howled through my window. Okay, what's the thing in the sentence that's not a human but is being treated like one? The wind. What are we saying that the wind can do that we normally reserve for humans to do? Or maybe wolves. Howled, right. Let's look at this one. The dark shadows in the alleyway told me to turn around. What is the non-human thing in the sentence that's being personified? The dark shadows. And what are we saying that the dark shadows can do? It's really a human characteristic. Told me. Can shadows talk? No, they cannot. So the thing that we're using is the told me the dark shadows can do. That's how we're personifying them. I hope this makes sense. If it doesn't, email me and let me know, and I will give you some more examples and we'll look at it together. But for right now, I want to go show you what you're going to be doing today. So today I'm going to ask you to complete this personification practice sheet. You're going to type your name. In case you forget, the definition of personification is here. There's an example. The flowers waved in the wind. Flowers don't wave. People wave. The flowers are being personified, and the human quality the flowers are given is the ability to wave. So look at each sentence below. Does the sentence use personification? These are all simple yes or no's. The candle danced in the dark as the students sat. Well, candles don't have legs, feet, so they can't really dance. So I would say this is definitely personification. That's how you're going to do the first 15 questions. They're not hard. Think very carefully and you'll be okay. Then we're going to get some sentences, and I'm going to ask you to tell me what is the thing being personified, what is the non-human thing that we're giving human qualities to, and what's the human quality we're giving it. And let me show you what I mean. We looked at this sentence already. The wind whispered through the dark and gloomy forest. The wind is what's being personified, and whispered is the human quality that we're giving to the wind. Let's look at this one. The gardener lovingly added the manure to his crops, believing he was making happy flowers. So what is the thing that's being personified? What's the thing here that's being given a human quality that's not a human? Well, here it's the flowers. So what's being personified? I'm only going to choose flowers. And now it says, what is the human quality? Well, what are we saying about the flowers that only humans can feel or do? Flowers aren't happy. They don't have emotions. That's a human thing. Humans have emotions. So the quality, the human quality that we're putting on the flowers is happy. So you're going to have only one answer in each column for these. Okay, let's do one more. The lumberjack leveled the many trees into a clearing, and his chainsaw sang its deadly song. What is the thing in this sentence that is not a human that is being personified? The chainsaw. What is the chainsaw? What's the human quality we're giving the chainsaw? In this case, it's something that the chainsaw, we're saying that something that the chainsaw does that chainsaws can't really do. Sing, or in this case, sang. So what's the human quality? The chainsaw sang. Okay, now I've given you, you've only have 3 more of those to do without me. I think you'll be okay. When you submit this, listen carefully. When you submit this, you're going to look at your answers as it's scored, and for some reason, this is what it does. For this one that we did together, it's going to mark every single one of these red, and it might even put a red X beside them, but you'll notice it doesn't take off any points. You'll get 3 points for this one, and it'll be green, and 2 points for this one, it'll be green. If you have 2 green lines, then you got them right. If you got 5 points for the question, then you got it right. So don't be bothered by the fact that all of these where you didn't choose anything are red. Unless you didn't choose the correct ones. But for this one, all of these are going to be red. These 2 will be green. For this one, these will be red, green, green, red, red, and that's okay. Okay, hopefully you'll have 2 green lines on every one of these answers because that'll mean that you got them all correct. Okay, go try this on your own. If you have any questions, email me and I'm more than happy to help you.